The title sounds a bit odd because it feels like every other week we get join the JMods for a Q&A on sailing messages in-game. And I love the communication, Jagex. But, and this is a big but, something feels off. There's an elephant in the boat. Where is sailing? We've had alphas, we've had stress tests, yet no date for sailing. When I compare Oldschool RuneScape to RuneScape 3, it's hard not to notice that the marketing in Oldschool RuneScape is just better. Take a look at the Steam pages. Not many people even use Steam, but at least the Oldschool team bothers to keep it updated. Which is especially odd considering that more RuneScape 3 players use Steam compared to Oldschool RuneScapers. And then we think about leagues. Our last league started on November 27th. But we started getting teasers, we got some dates, we got some reward information all the way back in September. Then in RuneFest, RuneScape 3 mentioned they would have a leaks plenty of time ahead of the release date. But then they didn't talk about it until August 20th, less than a month before it aired. Oldschool RuneScape is seemingly having a mini leagues type event. It's called the Gridmaster if you missed it. And this starts on October 15th. And I bring this up because marketing is important. Look at player counts around big updates. Any leagues, Varlamore Part 1, 2, and 3, Yama, all of these. We get huge player count surges because people know it's coming and they get excited. Oldschool RuneScape's first new skill is a big deal. It's divisive, sure, but this skill has had literal years of work put into it. And in RuneFest, we were told that sailing is coming in autumn of this year. As an ignorant American, I googled the autumn dates and the months are from September to November. This means if sailing was announced today, it would be releasing in about 2 months in November. This isn't an impossible situation, but it's still odd to me, because like I said, Oldschool RuneScape generally has better marketing than RuneScape 3. Let's take a look at the RuneScape 3 side of skills. Necromancy was released in August of 2023, and it had its date announced in June. Archaeology was released in March of 2020, and it had its date announced in February. So, if we assume sailing is releasing in the end of autumn, a date announcement this month wouldn't be odd for Jagex. But, we do have to ask ourselves, is Jagex stupid? A lot of us that love the game love the charm of the graphics. But not everyone. It's one of the reasons the 117 plugin is so popular, and why there was such an outrage when Jagex initially said it couldn't happen. It's not a secret, the graphics of the game turn a lot of people off. Look at the Looking for MMO subreddit. A lot of people would suggest OSRS as a game, and a big holdup people have is the graphics. So even if you personally don't like the graphics, it would be foolish to think that the HD client is bad for the game. It can and will attract new people, and even several older players will switch to these updated graphics. And we were told that sailing would release with the HD client.
This is where we are currently at, but that's not all. We are actively implementing even more amazing RuneTech features. These include RuneTech's brand new water system that will include optional real-time reflections with multiple water presets. Our plan is to have this complete and rolled out prior to sailing.
Mid-August, we get an update blog on the HD mode talking about a possible beta on the horizon. We were supposed to get a beta in the summer, but the blog says that an autumn release is more realistic for a beta. So there's a large portion of the player base, myself included, that would love to just get our hands on sailing without too much care for the HD part of things. Even though sailing with this water will undoubtedly be a better experience. But like I said, marketing is important. Is Jagex stupid enough to release arguably the biggest update in OSRS history and attract a lot of new people without the HD client to hook them in? Or By November, are we expected to have an HD client with built-in plugins and a whole new skill added to the game? Let's look at the roadmap from the summer. Bam! Sailing in autumn. Bam! Dead Man in winter. Bam! Blood Moon Rises early 2026. But then at the bottom, they put the HD part in the and beyond section, which in that section, the QOL and polls is just normal OSRS stuff, and Project Xaneras was cancelled. So the only thing that is really in this bottom portion is the HD mode. It almost feels like they are trying to distance the HD mode from sailing. The HD blogs and the sailing blogs don't mention each other anymore. It feels like sailing is going to be released without the high definition mode at this point. And I hope I'm wrong, because if you're a new player trying out the hype of old school RuneScape's new skill, it's gonna hurt. Nostalgic water, I get it. But if you don't have that nostalgia, OSRS water looks like shit, and for a new skill to take place entirely on this boring environment, it's not gonna hold up. I want the new skill in the game. Sooner rather than later would be good. More than that though, I would like to see the game see continued success. Even if you don't care about the new HD mode or the new skill and you won't interact with them at all, you should realize that they are important and they need to be done correctly. Jagex is normally pretty good about being open, and it's hard to be a company and give date ranges. We all still joke about the old winter 2017 meme, and I hope sailing isn't a new autumn 2025 meme, but it's 1000% better to delay a giant update than release it in a state that's disappointing. The last hands-on we had with sailing was the stress test, and it was a lot of stress for sure. A lot of people couldn't even get into the worlds, and if you did, the experience was interesting to say the least. There's an argument that sailing in HD coming at different times could be beneficial to the game, because that leaves room for 2 player spikes instead of 1. But I don't see it being nearly as powerful as sailing released with the HD mode. Which means, I agree that sailing in HD probably shouldn't come in one giant update. HD should come before sailing, not the other way around. But again, the HD beta doesn't have a date yet, and they even specifically mention on the HD blog that there is a lot to get through and nasty bugs can disrupt timelines. So I hope Jagex gives the player base an update soon. Should we be expecting the HD client with sailing? And is autumn still reasonable? I hope we hear about it soon, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful day.